All right, let's talk Dallas Cowboys. Of course, it's the Cowboys. It's been a wild offseason. Head coaching staff, coaching search, solid cast of free agent moves, and a really solid draft overall. But now we're working our way through the undrafted free agent cycle. We can take a step back now that everything's behind us and look through the draft and undrafted free agency period and see what kind of steals, hidden gems, great values are potentially there. And if you look at what the Cowboys have done specifically, it's clear Dallas believes there's one player in particular that they think could be a huge steal. I think there's a good chance the Cowboys are right here. We'll get to that report in just 1 second. But first, I'm Nick. That's Andrew. And this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, look, we all know it's one of those truisms in sports and in life. Money talks. And you go through the undrafted free agent cycle, you can see what teams are allocating serious signing bonuses and guaranteed money to some of these undrafted guys. And those are the guys that these teams believe are valuable, have a chance to not only make the team, but be contributors, be steals, in no simpler way to put it. And if you look at what the Cowboys have done with one player in particular, there's a lot of belief behind this guy. Let's get into this report here. This is courtesy a tweet by Todd Archer, of course, the ESPN reporter covering the Cowboys. He said the Cowboys undrafted rookie bonuses, guaranteed money, the $234,000 guarantee is what a player would make on a practice squad this season. So Elijah Clark, defensive back Syracuse, they gave him a $25,000 bonus. And again, the $234,000 guarantee, that was the most dollars allocated by any undrafted free agent by the Dallas Cowboys. What does that mean based on Archer's comments? It means the Cowboys believe that at worst, the baseline level here is that Elijah Clark is a practice squad guy all season and potentially a whole lot more. The Cowboys clearly like Clark. They clearly like what he brings to the table. He obviously has some flaws, otherwise he, of course, would have been drafted, but they believe he's got a high enough floor here that he's worth being guaranteed what he would make on a practice squad through all of 2025. And to that end, let's get into his sort of report, courtesy of NFL.com, sort of the overview and the strengths here. Let's throw it up here on the screen, just talking about Clark. He's a 3-year starter with below average size, but potential position versatility. That's important. Clark plays with solid anticipation and coverage and a feel for attacking throwing lanes when he's in position. He lacks top end speed, but can line up over the slot. He's willing in run support, but feels small when taking on blocks or tackling, and that issue will become more pronounced as a pro. So you can see there, it's very clear. He's small, right? That's really what it is. He doesn't have the ideal NFL frame, the ideal NFL body, and that's why he slid out of the draft. He's a willing player. He's versatile. He's a good, solid player. He's just a smallish guy. And you go into his strengths there, kind of outline some of that. He says he can play as a split safety or line up over the slot. Good eye balance between quarterback and receiver from off man. Will undercut a route for the chance to make a play. Rallies hard and fast to the football and run support. Has been a gunner and jammer on punt cover and return teams. So again, special teams guy. He's going to throw his body around. Willing run support. Position versatility, right? He checks every box in terms of what you would want from a young defensive back. He's a lot of production, a lot of experience, played a lot of football at the collegiate level. But again, it just goes back to he's a small guy. Now, look, that could hinder his NFL career. Could be the reason he doesn't make an NFL team. That is 100% possible. But if you look at guys that have been smallish, that have been on to do great things in the NFL just because they're good football players, folks, that list is about 5,000 names long. I do not know if Elijah Clark will follow that same mold, but I tell you what, for an undrafted free agent guy, I think the Cowboys believe they got themselves a really good football player here. You can see by the money they gave him. I think they look at the fact that he's small as something that is clearly a weakness, but definitely something that Clark can overcome. And I think he's one guy Dallas fans should definitely keep an eye on over the course of the offseason. All right, Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. But first, Cowboys fans in the comment section below, of all the undrafted free agent guys, and look, obviously Clark's the guy at the top of the list with the money Dallas gave him. Who's the one you're most excited about? Is it Clark? Is it somebody else? Right? There's a good chunk of names there. Really curious about your opinion on this one. Give us the undrafted free agent you think the Cowboys really did a great job at picking up. Put them in the comment section below. But Miles, I will throw it over to you now. What are your thoughts on this latest move by Dallas?
Yeah, Nick, I think this is a really great pickup for Dallas. I think this could be one of the more underrated undrafted free agent pickups of this entire cycle. And I'm not the only person saying this as well. If you look at Brent Sobleski of Bleacher Report, he put out a list of, ranking all of the undrafted free agents signings of all 32 teams. He actually ranked Elijah Clark the number one player on his list as far as guys to make the team. And I think a lot of it is his versatility, like you talk about. I think this guy is extremely versatile. And if you look at the numbers, he brings a whole lot to the table here. You look at just last year alone, and it's replicated over the last 3 years of his career as well. But let's see where he lined up last year. He had 259 snaps lined up deep as your traditional safety. He had 155 snaps lined up in the box. He had 11 snaps lined up at corner, 154 snaps in the slot, and then he even had 12 on the D line, I'm assuming in a rushing capacity. This guy literally played all over the field, like you alluded to. He is extremely versatile. I think there's a lot to like here about the selection for Dallas in the undrafted free agent market. Bringing this guy in, I can see why they pay him the quote unquote big bucks when we're talking about an undrafted free agent. That's a lot of money to give somebody. But just overall, like you said, this guy, he's maybe a little bit undersized, but he's very athletic, got a high athleticism score over on his NFL draft profile. Talking about he's eighth as far as, hitting the combine area for SAF rank. He's 73 athleticism score. Not too bad there, but his size really just something that kind of hindered him there as well. But overall, I think it's a really solid pickup for Dallas. I think this is a guy who can slot into a lot of different positions on the field. Very versatile, very good depth guy, very good, as you said, special teams guy. This guy can do a whole lot of great for Dallas, and I think it would be a really interesting, probably, again, the most interesting undrafted free agents to be picked up by any team this offseason.
And one of the things we talked about when it comes to other teams on our main channel, our main NFL channel, is that the safety position, and you look at the teams that spend dollars at that position, the teams that spend the fewest bucks at safety are usually the best teams. If you look at the teams that are ranked 28 through 31 in spending at safety, you've got the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Detroit Lions, the Philadelphia Eagles, right? These are guys relying on a lot of cheap players at the safety position. That's just a fact, right? The best teams in football don't spend a lot of money at safety. Dallas right now is about top 10 in terms of spending at safety. Look, there's nothing against guys like Malik Hooker. I think Donovan Wilson was a cool story. I don't really am a huge fan of him. Obviously, he kind of struggled at times last year, but he's a very physical guy, emotional guy, a lot of good things going for him. But I think the reality is the safety position is where you don't want to put a lot of dollars. And right now, the Dallas Cowboys, my opinion, have too much dollars allocated to the safety position, going out, bringing an undrafted free agent like Clark, again, position versatile guy, willing to play a bunch of different things, special teams. I think him, Wanye Thomas, again, working together, figuring out, just what's going to be that safety position for the future, I think is critically important for Dallas. They kind of are stuck at safety right now, but I think going forward in 2026, beyond this season, they should have the ability to open up a lot of cap space by moving off those veterans and going to cheap younger guys at the safety position. And there's a good chance that Elijah Clark leads that charge.